Hello there, welcome to episode 31 of Never Mind the Bullens, your bite-sized Everton podcast and vodcast. My name's Mike Peters, and I shall say Happy New Year to you now, even though I'll probably say that in the one after the West Ham game. But as I'm recording this on New Year's Eve and trying to amalgamate what's been a bit of a crazy few days, really, not just for Everton, but sort of for everybody in general, really. You may well be listening to this after we've finally seen the back of 2020, so I shall say that to you now. A lot to get through in this podcast. Firstly, obviously the big thing, the change in the COVID situation, that Liverpool now being moved into Tier 3, which is enormously disappointing for everyone. Personally for me, because I had a ticket for the West Ham game, and I can't put into words how excited I was. Goodison's like a second home to me, as it is, I'm sure it is for you as well. And having been there so many hundreds of times, to have not been there in now 10 months is enormous. It's like losing a limb. It really is. And I know that obviously there are far bigger things in the world, but when, we've talked so much this year about mental health and all the rest of it, and how important it is to have some semblance of normality, something you can sort of anchor yourself to. When that thing, or one of those things, is going to the football, as you have done, every 2 weeks, in my case, since I was about 3, that's when I went to my first game. Although I've been going regularly for 30 years now, which is terrifying to say in itself. When you've been doing that every fortnight for 30 years at worst, and now suddenly you haven't been there for 10 months, it's an extraordinary kind of sort of bit of dissonance, really, and it's really difficult to have the carrot dangled in front of me, getting my name drawn out of the ballot to be able to go, and then with 48 hours before you're due to be able to go, the government changes everything and now we can't go. It's just absolutely devastating. My only hope is that for anybody that missed out on the City game, which we'll get to in a second, which obviously didn't happen, but those, and also who were selected for West Ham, just to make things easier, that hopefully, fingers crossed, keeping everything crossed, by the time the Leicester and Newcastle games come around at the end of January, we'll be back into Tier 2 again. Case rates will have dropped. Obviously mass testing will have started to have happened in schools and etc., and the vaccine rollout and all the rest of it, so that hopefully those groups that were selected for the City and West Ham games will be the first cabs off the rank to be able to go to the Leicester and Newcastle games. We live in hope, but it is massively disappointing, particularly when having the fans back had such a galvanising effect on the team. Not that seemed to stop us with Sheffield United, which again we'll get to in a minute. And obviously COVID played a big part, obviously, in the fact that the Man City game, where obviously 2,000 people were due to go and then couldn't, got called off because of City's situation. Now, I mean, there's been a lot said and written, and some of it somewhat gallows humour in terms of give us the 11-0 win now. And I was one of the first to say that, because we would have gone top on that basis. But still, big picture, let's be pragmatic about this. It's frustrating. What the Premier League are about with this, I'm not quite sure, because obviously they were the ones that said earlier in the season, they made statements saying, well, it doesn't matter how many players you've got fit, you're going to have to play the games, come what may, and then they've changed their mind. Now, I think actually they've made the right decision because it puts fewer people at risk. If they've had an outbreak in their camp, it could have been transmitted to Everton players, Everton staff, all the rest of it, and that's the last thing we want. So I think the absolutely correct decision was to postpone the game. Obviously, this will play into our hands hopefully later in the season, because obviously we've had a longer break now than any other team, not of our own making, although Fulham and Tottenham will be in the same boat as well, when they because with having their game called off as well last night as I record this. So hopefully this will be good for us and gives us a break now, and also means we'll have players fit, fingers crossed, that aren't available at the moment when the game is eventually played later in the season. It'll have to be shoehorned in at some point when City are not in Champions League action or what have you. So realistically, you're looking at sort of, well, who the hell knows when, to be honest. But obviously, I didn't do a podcast after the Sheffield United game because I was going to do one on Monday night after the City game, and of course that didn't happen. So Sheffield United game obviously was one of the, it wasn't a great spectacle, let's be fair. It was really very much a sort of a grind it out, a very attritional performance, and understandable with the situation that Sheffield United find themselves in, which I find absolutely bizarre, that they've gone from being so good last season to so bad this season, just cannot buy a goal, a point, anything. They can barely buy a corner at this stage. But, you know, it reminds me of Ipswich years ago when they came up and were brilliant in their first season. Marcus Stewart was scoring loads of goals. They finished, I think, 5th, just missed out on the Champions League places that season, and ended up getting relegated the next season because they had a UEFA Cup run. You know, it's a similar thing, isn't it? But we knew it was going to be a difficult one. The big obviously positives, I think, Gylfi Sigurdsson getting his goal, Tom Davies again, you know, bossing the midfield, and another clean sheet, which, you know, Sheffield United haven't scored many goals this season, so you arguably would expect a clean sheet. However, with this being Everton, you're thinking, oh God, a team that hasn't won all season has only got 2 points, rock bottom of the league. We're going to go there thinking we should win. We're second in the table, we're flying, and we managed to completely cock it up and end up giving them the win that they crave. But no, fair play, and I think that's testament to how Carlo has got us now, which is great to see that, you know, that sort of fear of Evertonians of years and managers past is starting to just sort of dissipate a little bit. You know, when we just go into games feeling much more confident. We know we're still a work in progress, but the progress that has been made over the course of the past 12 months, which I want to talk about a bit because, you know, now Carlo has officially been here a year. You know, his record is absolutely enviable, given what he inherited and the amount of work that he's done so far. Not just him, but the coaches, Marcel Brands, all the senior management team of the club, Fahad Mashiri investing obviously in the playing staff, and then backing him in what he felt we needed, and let's be fair, he's been vindicated every which way. So we've won 9 out of 18 away league games. Thank you to EFC Stato for this excellent one, with Carlo in charge. As many as we've managed in our previous 55 away league matches. So, I mean, it just shows that the marked improvement. And, you know, when you look at the sort of his home and away record, which is since he came in, this was on the 21st, so before the Sheffield United game, so that we can change this ever so slightly. But we've played 34 games, so not quite a full season of games. Won 7 at home, played 17 away, 17 as well. Won 8 away, at home and away. Drawn 6 at home, lost 3 at home. Drawn 2 away, lost 7 away. Scored 30 points at home, 26 away. Scored 28 goals at home, conceded 21, and scored 21 away from home, and conceded 25. 4 clean sheets at both home and away, so 8 in total, giving us a total of 56 points. Well, you now add, you know, another couple of games into that, and if you look at the whole season and thinking, you know, given where we were, to have got, you know, probably, let's say 60 odd points over the course of a league season. I think I know it's obviously not a traditional start and end point, but to have got that, I mean, I think most of us, I think where we are and the squad that we've got and the clear gaps in it that need to be filled and will be filled, I have no doubt about that, is absolutely phenomenal effort. I mean, I know there's been ups and downs at times, but we've particularly some poor results after Project Restart, after the restart. But, you know, and also obviously since we started so brilliantly this season as well. But actually, when you look at it in context, you know, all right, we've lost 10 games. That's disappointing, but still we've won 16, drawn 8. You know, that's actually a pretty reasonable season record. And you know that the amount of defeats is only going to get, obviously, hopefully fewer over the months and hopefully years to come. So, you know, it's obviously there was a lot of questions asked when Carlo came here, and will he be able to do it and pull us up? But obviously, clearly, it doesn't matter whether he's managing a Real Madrid or a Paris Saint-Germain or an AC Milan. He's a world-class manager, and he's already proven that. And long may it continue. Starting with West Ham on New Year's Day, and obviously, you know, David Moyes. I have and always will be a fan of David Moyes. I know he's derided in some quarters of Everton's fan base, but I think what he did for us, I think, you know, maybe there was a bit of a glass ceiling going on and he just couldn't quite get where he wanted to go, and there was a little bit of negative thinking, but still where he brought us from and where he left us, I don't think his contribution to the club couldn't be underestimated. And it's great to see him doing well with West Ham and being given an opportunity to try and build something there. It's going to be a tough game, but you would hope at home. Obviously, no fans, sadly, but we should be able to, and with our extra few days rest as well, which meant we don't have to rest Dominic Calvert-Lewin, fingers crossed, and with Richarlison back, we should be able to get ourselves a result. Episode 32 will come after that game at some point over the weekend. But until then, if you want to get in touch, please do at NMTVpod on Twitter, or you can email me nmtvpod@gmail.com. Until then, Happy New Year, and come on you Blues.